It was a perfectly normal Tuesday afternoon. I was driving home from work through a shortcut I'd used for years. A quiet subdivision called Willow Creek Estates. Never had a problem. No gates, no guards, just a public road that cuts through it. Then I saw the orange cones. 2 golf carts blocked half the street. And 4 people in neon yellow vests stood in the middle of the road waving me down, like they were airport ground crew. One held a clipboard, another had a blinking red flashlight, and the third was already filming on his phone. I rolled my window down 2 inches. "Hi, we need to see your ID and your HOA parking pass." The woman with the clipboard barked before I could even speak. I blinked. "I'm just passing through? I don't live here." "Everyone has to show ID now," she said, stepping closer. "New safety policy. We've had break-ins." I laughed because it sounded insane. "Ma'am, this is a public street. You can't demand ID from drivers." Her face hardened. "Sir, this is private property." "You're trespassing." "No," I said slowly. "This is a public easement. The county owns the road. I checked the plat map last year when my GPS kept routing me here." The guy with the phone leaned in. "Just show the ID, or we're calling the sheriff to arrest you for trespassing and refusal to comply." I looked around. There were actual Willow Creek Estates signs, but no gates, no fences, and the road was clearly marked with county street signs. I'd driven this way for 6 years without anyone ever stopping me. "Call them," I said. "I'll wait." Clipboard lady smirked. "We have an agreement with the sheriff." "They back us up." I pulled out my own phone and started recording. "Great, let's get this on video. You're telling me your HOA has the authority to run a checkpoint on a public road and threaten arrest if people don't show papers?" The fourth guy, a big dude in wraparound sunglasses, stepped forward and put his hand on my door. "You've got 10 seconds to hand over your license or we're towing your car." I locked the doors. "Touch my car, and that's a new problem," I said. The energy changed. They weren't backing down. And that's when I realized this wasn't about safety at all. This was about power. 2 minutes later, a county sheriff's cruiser rolled up with lights flashing, but no siren. My stomach dropped. I figured I was about to get a ticket for causing a disturbance, or whatever nonsense they'd cooked up. The deputy, a young guy who looked barely old enough to shave, stepped out and immediately walked straight to the HOA squad instead of me. Clipboard lady launched into a performance. "Deputy, this individual is refusing to identify himself and is trespassing on private HOA property." I leaned out my window. "Officer, this is a public road. I'm just trying to go home." He glanced at me, then back at her. "Ma'am, is this the through street to Route 17? "Yes, but it's private," she insisted. The deputy sighed like he'd heard this song before. He pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, and turned the screen toward her. It was the county GIS map, clearly showing the right-of-way in bright yellow. "This roadway was dedicated to the public in 1998, he said. "It's not private. You cannot block it, and you definitely cannot demand ID from drivers." The big guy in sunglasses muttered, "We have bylaws." "Bylaws don't override state law," the deputy replied. "Move the cones, now." Clipboard lady's face went nuclear red. "We pay your salary. We have a memorandum of understanding." The deputy raised an eyebrow. "No, ma'am." "You don't, and I get paid by the county." He turned to me. "Sir, you're free to go." "I'm sorry for the delay." As I started to pull forward, the guy who'd been filming lunged at my window and screamed, "This isn't over! We have your plate!" The deputy grabbed his arm. "Sir, back away from the vehicle." I drove off, heart hammering, watching in my rear view, as the deputy made all 4 of them line up on the curb like naughty school kids. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. 3 hours later, my doorbell rang. 2 of the same HOA goons were standing on my porch, my actual porch, 6 miles away, holding a manila envelope and another phone already recording. "We're serving you with a formal cease and desist for trespassing and harassment," Clipboard lady announced. I stared. "How did you find my house?" She smiled like a shark. "We have resources." I took the envelope with 2 fingers like it was radioactive. Inside was a single sheet on Willow Creek Estates HOA, letterhead claiming I owed $2,500 in trespass fines and $750 in legal fees, plus a notice that they had recorded a lien against my property for non-payment. My property 6 miles away, in a different zip code. Built in 1974, 20 years before their precious subdivision even existed. I laughed out loud. You can't lien a house that's not in your HOA. Clipboard lady, her name was apparently Karen Whitaker. President folded her arms. We have a roaming covenant. Anyone who uses our private roads falls under our jurisdiction. There's no such thing as a roaming covenant, I said. Her sidekick, sunglasses guy, now I saw his name tag read Enforcement Chair Brad, smirked. Tell it to the judge. We file these every week. Most people just pay. I closed the door in their faces and immediately called the county clerk. The clerk confirmed it. At 2:14 p.m. that same day, Willow Creek Estates HOA had recorded a notice of assessment lien against my address for $32,150. It was fraudulent on its face, but it was on file. That meant it would show up on any title search and could screw me if I ever tried to refinance or sell. I spent the next 48 hours on the way any sane person would. Calling lawyers who all wanted $5,000 retainers I didn't have, filing emergency complaints with the State Real Estate Commission, and posting the Bodycam style footage I'd taken to every neighborhood. Facebook group within 20 miles. The video went viral locally. By day 3, news vans were parked outside the Willow Creek entrance. Karen and Brad stopped answering their doors. But the HOA lawyered up fast. Their attorney sent me a letter threatening to countersue for defamation unless I took the video down and paid the assessment within 10 days. That's when I discovered the deeper scam. They'd done this to at least 47 other non-residents. Same lien, same threats, same fake roaming covenant. Most people just Venmo'd them $501,000 to make it go away because fighting it cost more. I wasn't most people. I called a reporter friend at Channel 9. Within a week, we had a hidden camera and a date. We scheduled the emergency HOA meeting for a Thursday night in the Willow Creek clubhouse. The reporter and I walked in with a hidden camera pin and a stack of public records thick, enough to choke a horse. The room was packed. Karen at the head table in a blazer 2 sizes too tight, Brad flexing next to her, and about 60 angry residents who thought they were there to vote on Christmas lights. Karen banged a gavel she definitely bought on Amazon. This meeting is to address the harassment campaign against our volunteer board. I stood up. Actually, it's to address the 47 fraudulent liens your board filed on houses that have never been inside your boundaries, including mine. Gasps. Phones came out. Karen tried to cut me off, but I kept talking. You recorded liens using a covenant that doesn't exist. You used a title company in Nevada that's under federal investigation for exactly this scam. And you did it with money skimmed from dues that were supposed to pay for the pool chemicals. I dropped the stack of documents on the table, recorded liens, quit claim attempts, the Nevada title company's indictment, bank records showing $187,000, transferred to an LLC owned by Karen's sister. Brad lunged. You're gonna regret this. Security, 2 off-duty deputies the HOA had hired for the night, grabbed him instead. The reporter stood up, no longer hiding the camera. Channel 9, we'd like a comment. On the felony fraud charges the district attorney is preparing to file tomorrow morning. The room exploded. Residents started screaming at Karen. Someone threw a folding chair. Karen tried to bolt out the side door. But the real sheriff's deputies, the ones not on the HOA payroll, were already waiting. By sunrise, Karen Whitaker and Brad were in cuffs for felony theft, forgery, and filing false instruments. The liens were voided countywide by emergency order. The state attorney general opened a full investigation into every HOA in the county that had used the same Nevada title company. I got a handwritten apology letter from the new interim board, plus a check for $2,500 to cover my inconvenience. I framed the check. Still haven't cashed it. Some shortcuts aren't worth taking anymore.